All right. Um, Bear with me just a moment here. I just want to make sure everything is up and running. Um, I just want to check the volume. All right, looks like that's working well. Let me just put a link in the chat down below. And I'm going to log into my other page real quick. I just want to make sure that the stream is public because last time I tried, it was what's the word I'm looking for? Last time I tried, it was somehow in private. So, want to correct that. Just bear with me one moment here. Um, okay, it looks like everything is working smoothly here. It's like, okay, so I want to start off this video by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, which is the name of Most High, Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And this video is just going to be about, that the time is truly at hand right now, man. Okay, because everything that Yahweh Shai, the world calls Christ, everything that Yahweh Shai told us to, be looking out for, which would be what the signs of his coming and of the end of the world, right? We're seeing all those things. Okay, and really we've been seeing this stuff for years, but it's never been at the rate which it is, at in the last, 2 years here. Okay, 2020, 2021. So hey, so we can tell by the signs that Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly, calls Jesus Christ, is about to return. Okay, now we of course know that we all have to go through the time of the great tribulation. Okay, but hey, the scriptures speak about, and I'm actually working on a lesson regarding this, but the scriptures say what? Be of good cheer, right? Be of good cheer. And scriptures also say in Ecclesiasticus, I believe the second chapter says, whatsoever is brought upon you, take it cheerfully. Right. So whatever is brought upon you, whether that be, good or at some type of adversity, we're supposed to take that cheerfully. Okay, and you have a saying in the world that goes, it's easier said than done. And that's true. It certainly is, easier to say than to do. Absolutely. So, of course there's gonna come, in this walk of ours, there's gonna be certain things, certain adversities which will come our way, that we have to, may I say, power through, but that's just part of the struggle. Okay, that's just the way it has to be. Okay, that's just the way it has to be. So, we're, definitely coming into some tough times here, man. I was watching, some stuff on the news, about there's some stuff that's going on, regarding, the whole, may I say, situation, which is, unfolding right now. Which I can't, use the words. You gotta use code word. But this whole situation, it's been going on the earth for the past about 2 years now. It's getting pretty bad out here, man. I've seen, stories of parents being, restricted from having access to their, children, just, because they, have a certain standpoint on this thing. Let me just put the phone on the tripod real quick. All right. So yeah, in the time that we're in right now, man, we really have to, be concerned with taking this thing seriously, man. Okay, because a lot of brothers out there, man, and I speak from experience because there's been times as well, in this walk of ours, and I speak from experience. There's been times where I've, slacked off, and haven't been doing what I, should be doing. But you know what? We gotta put that behind us. Okay, those things have to be, put off to the best of our ability. Now, of course, it should be noted that I believe this is in what is that? Matthew I want to say the 25th chapter, could be mistaken, but it speaks about, every man is given his own lot, right? Every man was not given the same portion of faith, right? Some men were given 2 talents, some were given 5 talents. And what did a talent represent? And you all should be familiar with the parable of the talents, right? One man was given 5 talents and he increased it and brought back 10 talents to the man who gave him the talents. The one who got 2 talents, he went and brought forth 4 talents, all right, and so on and so forth. But the one man who got 1 talent, he hid the talent, and when the man returned to seek the talents, right, and to seek the interest, right, the money that they gained along with that money, the one man hid that money and did not make any profit off of it, right? So he was the one who got punished. And what does that all represent? That all represents this truth. Okay, we're given certain portions of faith in this thing of ours. Okay, my faith might not be as strong as yours. Yours might not be as strong as mine. Okay, but hey, every man at the end of the day was given a certain portion, okay, of faith. Scriptures speak about, you know, some might have, a very small amount of faith in the Lord. Okay, but hey, the times that we're coming into now, man, we're gonna see things that are gonna, increase all of our faith, man. I mean, hell, you're gonna have a lot of brothers who are, in the world right now, right, who are part of the 2/3, right, and part of the ones who are destined, for the destruction. Excuse me, stutter. But they might, in the time to come, some of them might actually be converted and might come into this truth. Okay, and that goes into, what I was speaking about a while back about how we should be, hoping that, these people in the world, right, these Israelites out in the world, that, hey, they might come to this truth. They might not get it today, might not get it, hell, they might not even get it this year. Right? We might have told them about this 5 years ago when they didn't get it. They were continuing in their sin and their, iniquities. But hey, when they see this stuff pop off, they might say, hey, you know what? I think these guys actually have a point. All right. So, at the end of the day, we really don't know what the hell to expect, man. All right. I mean, hell, some of us might be of the 2/3. Okay. That could certainly be true. And some of the people who we follow were the 2/3. They might actually end up being the very elect. Okay. So, it all comes back to, faith at the end of the day. Okay. And I'm, nearly paraphrasing the scriptures because I'm out and about. I don't have, the holy book here with me, but this is how you increase your memory. Okay. Because there's going to be certain points in time. I'm just going to drink real quick. There's going to be, certain points in time where, you might have to, teach somebody the scriptures without physically having the scriptures in your hands. Okay. That's why you want to gain your memory. Okay. You want to build your memory with these scriptures. And one way you do that is by, diligently reading. Okay. You got to read and study. And I got to give, of course, a shout out to our one brother out there. He goes by the name of, Dasan, right? Brother Dasan. Go subscribe to that brother. Brother's new to this truth, but hey, he's giving this thing his all, man. Right? I mean, that brother's actually almost read the entire Bible already, and that's a hard thing to do, man. And I speak from experience. Okay, that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, hell, man. You have especially a lot of the people out here, man. According to statistics, they say that the average American does not even read one book in an entire year. Which what is that? You know, 360 plus days, man. Okay, so I mean, I mean, hell, I'll tell you, man, in the past, what are we, like, you know, pretty much halfway through the year, all right? If not even more than that, right? We'll just say halfway through the year. I myself can speak, as a man. I've read, I want to say, a good 10 books, a good 10 books in the past, 6, 7 months, man. Okay, but yet the average American can't even read one book a year. So that shows you, you know, that reading is important, and the scriptures speak about what? That blessed is the man who reads, right? Blessed is the man who reads, and that's of course, referring to the scriptures, first and foremost. But then also it's referring to, reading in general, okay, because that's how you become knowledgeable, all right, is by reading. That's how you learn. Okay, of course you can watch videos, and that's the way that you can, of course, learn. But the way to get the may I say, the proper skills is by engaging in reading for yourself. In fact, what is that? That's Hebrews 4 and 12, or Hebrews 6 and 12. It speaks about what? And yeah, I believe it's Hebrews 4 and 12. It says what? That the words of the Lord are sharper than any two-edged sword. Which, what is that talking about? That's talking about the scriptures, right? Or as I like to say, the scriptures, right? That's what it's talking about. Okay, so by diligently engaging in study is how you can learn. Okay, because you got guys out here, man, that I mean, hell, I'll reiterate it again. You got guys out here, man, who haven't even read one book in an entire year, man. It's no, that's it's crazy, man. But that just shows you, what you got going on out here, man. Right? We're living in a dumbed down society, man. I mean, hell, everybody thinks that they're living on a ball that spins around 1,000 miles an hour. It's like, okay, well, if you ask them, how do you know? I mean, how do you know that that's true? And all they can really do is say, well, I mean, how can that not be true? Everybody knows that. It's like, okay, well, where do you learn about that? You learned about that in school, right? Which school is where they can train you in the way that they want you to think. Which, if you do the research on it, it was, if memory serves me correct, it was the Nazis who first came up with the concept of, they call it compulsory education, right? Which is training the young the way that you want them to think, so that when they get older, they'll basically be good soldiers, for lack of better words. Okay, so which, by the way, the word government means mind control. Okay, the word govern means to have rule over, and the word meant means the mind, right? So the word government, by its very meaning, means to control one's mind, which I recommend. And I always say this, but I'll recommend it again because you always have new listeners. I recommend a book by the name of the Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. All right. Once again, that's The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. Okay. And you can look up Larkin Rose on YouTube, and you can listen to the author of the book. He teaches on his YouTube page as well. But if you have the time, go ahead and give that book a listen. You can find the audio on YouTube. Okay. Give that book a listen. Okay. It's a very good book. Okay. I would argue and say that's a truly a life changing book right there. It's like, damn, sun's coming in my eyes. Let me just switch my position. Um, for a moment. Getting back to the name of the video, man. Getting back to the name of the video. Is, hey, look, man. It's becoming. Excuse that loud noise. They said, hold it to your eardrums. Phone fell off the tripod. Anyway, going back to what I was saying is Hey, look, man, we're truly in a time to be alive right now, man. Why? Because we're seeing, all of these prophecies are being fulfilled right now. Okay, all the prophecies of the scriptures, which is what, MOB, downfall of Babylon the Great, aka America, um, in the second coming of the Lord. Okay, that's all clearly happening right now, man, and you can't deny it. Right? Only a damn fool could deny it. Which the word fool means it means unlearned. Okay, and I'll give an example. You can be very knowledgeable on a certain because you're unknowledgeable on that topic because you are either new to it or you haven't put much study to the topic. And I'll give an example. You know, you wouldn't expect somebody to be a good carpenter unless they go through, certain months and years of may I say schooling or education on that field of knowledge, right? And they got to put in the time to work with the wood, so they can hone their skills, right? So it's very simple to understand. Okay, that over time, as you deal with it, you can get more knowledge and more skill. Okay, so why one might be a novice or a fool on such things as carpentry, one might be very knowledgeable on mathematics, all right, or on or on sports, right? And I'll tell you, man, I don't know a whole lot about sports. I've never been into any type of sport. Well, other than you know dodgeball, right? Because back in school we used to play this thing called what is that? Wall ball or something like that, which is sport. So other than that, I mean, I've never been a sports person. I bring that example up to say, hey, look, as far as dealing with sports, I would be considered to be a novice on that, or a fool, or one who is unlearned on that field of knowledge, which I suppose it is a skill of knowledge, sports, because you have to as you're out there doing, playing sport, you have to know, okay, well, this is how I, play, right? So, it's I would definitely say that's a field of knowledge, right? Not deep, of course, but you have to definitely have skill to be good, a good player in the game, so to speak. Um, let's see. So I don't know how long we're gonna go on here. I was just now I just wanted to, come on and give a couple faults, man, because hey, look, now I think it's very, may I say, clear, right, or self-explanatory that we're clearly, in those times, man. Okay, in fact, if you read, I was reading the other day the book of what is that, Second Ezra, the fourth chapter. It speaks about you know, how can the thing that is sown with good have his rule if the thing which is first sown of evil does not first have his rule, right? So that's how you would answer the question that guys would ask, well, if God is all good, right? Well, why would God make a world where there's such evil, right? Why would God make a world where rape, murder, um, robbery, all type of adversity and misfortune takes place? Why would God do that if God was good? And that's a very good question. Okay, which we already, hey, those who come around here, we already know the answer to that because we know that, the Most High is behind the good and the evil, right? God, does the good, but He also does the evil. All right, so the Most High has most certainly all the credit. Okay, all the credit goes to the Lord. But one who's new to this, they might think, okay, well, with this question, I'm going to stump him, with this question, right? This question is enough to stump them. right? And that's what happens when these these Christians get presented with that. It's like, well, if your Christian God is who you guys propose him to be, well then why is all this adversity happening in the world? And the Christians don't know how to answer that because the Christianity, we all been there, right? We were all brought up in the church, okay? Which of course it should be mentioned, even though the church is off, they definitely have they're better off than these average people in the world, right? At least they actually, you know, pick up the scriptures. Unlike certain guys out here in the world, like that coon, Brother Polite, who actually shot up the scriptures, okay, or these Satanists out here. Right? So I mean, hell, the Christian church got that going for 'em, and I'll admit that's true. Um, um, but yeah, the point of the matter, still made clear, okay, that these Christians will get stumped when you ask them, certain questions regarding the theology. All right, and I'll give an example. These guys are out here, talking about how God and Satan, are in like some type of, war against each other. It's like, okay, well, how is that true? Okay, I mean, it's like, can you show me where it says that in the text? Because again, I'm one who actually read the book twice, may I also mention. Unlike these, Christians out there, who, if you ask them, just like our friend, Rich Napper, now he's like, oh, I haven't even read one book out of the Bible. Oh, and that's a whole nother thing, which I don't want to, skip what I was speaking about, but that's a whole nother thing. You ask these guys how many books are in the scriptures, and they some of them think they're smart because they can remember how many it is. They say 66, but that's not true. There's not 66 books. There's actually 80 books. Okay, you have the 66 books, which is in the in the scriptures, but then you also have 14 books, which make up the apocrypha, right? So Christians don't know about those. And then if you ask them about it, well, it's like, well, those are, they call it canonized scripture, is what they call books as such as the apocrypha, which basically means that it's not inspired of the Lord. Okay, that's basically what it means, that it's not inspired of the Most High, is what they mean by canonized scripture. And of course, that's clearly incorrect. I mean, there's too many, you know, points to mention to prove the authenticity of the Apocrypha, because I'll give one example. In the book of, I believe, what is that? Second Ezra's first chapter, and the what is that? Second Ezra's chapter 1 and verse 30. All right, it speaks about what I have gathered, um, children of Israel as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings, right? But then the thing is that Christ literally said the exact same sentence in the book of what is that? Matthew chapter 23 and verse 37. Christ literally said the exact same sentence. So by logic, how could the Apocrypha not be what's the word I'm looking for? How could it not be inspired of the Most High if they literally are saying the exact same thing? And also keep in mind that the Apocrypha was written roughly 400 years before the before Christ was on Earth, right? So 400 BC was when the Apocrypha was written. Okay, so by logical deduction, if we see a place where Christ is literally saying the exact same sentence that's in the Apocrypha, where by logic we must conclude that Christ took that from the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha was written before the New Testament. So, they'll get stumped on that one. And another good one, I always quote this. We all know this scripture, right? Matthew 7:13, right? Straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leads to life, but broad is the gate that leads to destruction, right? But a lot of people don't know. And that was actually from the book of Second Ezra, the 7th chapter. And remember, the Apocrypha was written first. So the writer of Matthew, right? Matthew must have took that from the Apocrypha. It couldn't be the other way around, because what they'll do is they'll say that well, the writers of the Apocrypha, they stole certain things out of the Bible just to make it sound correlatable. Look that word up, right? To make certain correlations between the Bible to make it look like it's inspired, right? So don't fall for the trick because the Apocrypha is not inspired, is what they'll say. Now, wait a second. How, by logical deduction, that's impossible, because the Apocrypha was written after, or let me rephrase myself, the Apocrypha was written before the New Testament. So by logic, if I see something in the New Testament quoting the Apocrypha, well, they must have taken the inspiration to write that from the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha was written first. So that's that's a blow to these guys out here who doubt the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha is clearly inspired. Okay, it's the lost books of the Bible, which the word Apocrypha means to be sent away, right? To be hidden and sent away. That's what the word Apocrypha means. Okay, so the very name that they subscribe to those books means to be sent away, to be hidden. So let me just grab a drink real quick. All right, we have a LOP in the chat here. He said, I didn't grow up going to church at all, but the first Bible I bought was the King James version, and it included the Apocrypha as well. Yeah, that's a good point. The original, scriptures, the original Bibles contained the books of the Apocrypha in it, but then a group that calls themselves the Biblical Destruction Group, they ended up removing, certain books of the Bible which make up the Apocrypha. And I believe this took place, I want to say, the 1600s. It might have been the 1800s, but memory serves me correct. It was 1600s. But you can look into that for yourself. Okay, but the Biblical Destruction Group removed certain books from the Bible, right? The Catholic Church removed these books from the scriptures. Okay, why? Because there's hidden knowledge in there. And again, the word Apocrypha means to be hidden, right? To be sent away, right? So, going by that, we can, we got to consider ourselves lucky, that we're the ones who, have this foreknowledge, for lack of better words, and that's a special thing, man. All right, because hell, the Lord could have, called the next man, given him this knowledge that we have, but it was the Lord chose me and you. Okay, and that's a special thing, man. Okay, because you have to think about it this way as well, man. There's been especially on Earth right now, there's about 8 billion people, which I would say there is 8 billion people, because there's no way to keep track of the entire population of the world. It's impossible, can't be done, because there's people being born every couple seconds and people dying every few seconds. But also, it should be noted that people are being born faster than the amount of people who are dying, right? So the world, even though certain people are dying, the population is increasing, because the amount of people dying versus being born each day are what's what I'm looking for, different, right? In a wide manner. A lot of people die, but a lot of people are born, more so that are born than that who die, any given day. Right. So I would say there is 8 billion people on the earth right now. So going by that, 144,000 men, which make up the elect. Okay, which make up the elect. Those that's a very small number, man. 144,000, excuse me, 144,000 out of just the people alive today. Don't even worry about the people in the spiritual realm. There could be a billion people there, could be a few hundred million. But regardless of what it is, that's a very special thing, man. We have to, take that upon faith, because there's no certificate one can pull out and say that, see, well, this says that I am, born again. As these guys are out here talking about, you got Mind of God saying that he's been sealed. What's hell? He could have been sealed. Maybe that's true. At least he's not going around saying he was saved. Which, hell, next time I bring him on the show, I'm going to have to ask him, "Mighty God, are you saved?" Which, if I know correctly, if my memory serves me correct, he's going to say no. But if you're sealed, doesn't that mean you're saved? You know what I'm saying? So, which, hell, he could be sealed, right? I mean, hell, the 144,000, could all be filled right now. All those spots could be fulfilled, and taken right now. We don't know. All right. So yes, we are sealed. In fact, what is that? That's what is that? That's Ezekiel, the 9th chapter. Right, go for the midst of the city and slay utterly old and young, but come not upon any man who has the mark of God. What is the mark of God? The mark of God is talking about it's a spiritual mark. At least in that context, that's a spiritual mark. Okay, meaning what? That you've been sealed. That's what it means. Let's see. But yes, going into being born again, because I actually was reading. I was reading the book of John. That's where I am at right now. I went back to read the New Testament again, which I read the New Testament. I want to say a good 6 times now, at least 5 or 6 times. This should be the 6th. But I was reading the book of John, and one I catch my eye would be John the 3rd chapter. Okay, because it speaks about what? That a man has to be born again in order to enter into the kingdom. Right? And I believe he was talking with Zacchaeus, if I'm not mistaken. All right. But he was like, well, how can a man enter again into his mother's stomach after he's been born, after he's been fully grown? How can a man enter into, the belly again when he's fully grown? As Christ said, a man has to be born again. Now, what did Christ mean when by a man has to be born again? What that means is that, he has to be re-educated, into this knowledge, right? That's what being born again means, right? To put off, the knowledge of the world to relearn this knowledge of the scriptures. That's what being born again means, right? It's a mental thing. It's not necessarily today, regarding being physically baptized in water. I mean, what are you going to do? Be baptized in chlorine water or polluted seawater? You know what I'm saying? Now back then they would with John the Baptist, they would baptize people. Okay, but today, to give an example, right? Because John the Baptist said that Christ would baptize you with fire. Now, is that literal fire? And the answer to that is no. That's not physical fire by way of burning things. That's not what it's talking about. The fire that Yahushua was to baptize the elect in is referring to, remember how the scriptures spoke about that a man has to be tried in the furnace of adversity, right? A acceptable man has to be tried in the furnace of adversity, right? So that's how the Lord will baptize you by fire. It's not literal, but it means what? That you're going to have to catch some type of misfortune on this side. Okay, that's what it means. All right, that's how you're born again, is by hearing this knowledge, believing in it, and putting off the knowledge that you were taught in this world. Okay, to take on this newfound spiritual knowledge. Excuse me, it's getting a little windy out here, so I'm hoping the audio isn't choppy. Let me just read the comment real quick. What he said. In Ezekiel, it was a physical mark. It says angel had the writer's inkhorn. If you could put up the precept for me, I would appreciate that. As I said, the mark in Ezekiel is a spiritual mark. It's not a physical mark. They weren't literally going around the city and putting, a imprint on people. Okay, that's not what was going on. Okay, if you want to believe that, that's cool, right? That's cool. But if you ask me, I'm not going to tell you that. right? It's a spiritual thing. Okay, in fact, when you go to Revelation, it speaks about, those who had the seal of God in their foreheads. Is that literal? That's not literal. They're not a literal seal that's put upon the elect. It's a spiritual thing. Okay, and as I said, there's not much to elaborate on that. I mean, it's at this point, man, it's very simple, for us to understand, right? In this knowledge, those of us who've been in this thing for a number of years, like I myself, I've been in this truth for about 8 years now, right? I've been in this knowledge for about 8 years. Pretty soon it's going to be 8 years. So give it another 5, 6 months, and it'll be exactly 8 years. That I've been in this truth for. Um, and man, as I said, you definitely, over time, when you're in this, thing of ours, as Elder Apostle Barber pointed, you definitely, grow over time. Okay, you got to start off small, and then as you get bigger and more knowledgeable, that's how you learn in this truth. That's how you learn. Okay, you got to start off small, and then from that, you get bigger. Okay, you get mentally bigger in this truth. What do I mean by bigger? You become more knowledgeable and you can understand precepts better. Okay, and you learn more in this truth. Okay, and that comes by experience, just like everything else, in real life. You know, I mean, hell, you don't get anywhere in life by just sitting in bed all day, which is, what I usually do. Not, all jokes aside, but but those out there who are looking, to build a business, you got to put in the work, or you got to put in that work. Nothing in life comes easy. And it's a hard pill to swallow. But hey, that's just the way it is. And sad truth. But you know, hey, just gotta, just gotta, accept the truth for what it is, man. And that shows, who is a real man. Right? A real man will do what? The real man will accept the truth, will put his emotions and his feelings to the side, and will accept the truth. Okay? Just like with this whole, bride kidnapping, thing, which, the apostles of Great Millstone brought out. You know, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you that yes, that the Bible has a law in it on how you deal with the situation. If a man was to force himself upon a woman, it tells you how to deal with that. Okay, that is in the scriptures. And anyone who says it's not, it's like, okay, well then you guys don't agree with the text because it's clearly in there. Right now, the guys are turning it around to make it look like, GMS. Since they spoke about that, they're turning it around to make it look like GMS endorses those actions. That's not true, man. The apostles never told anybody to go around and to violate a woman's right to refuse sexual intercourse. Nobody has ever said to do that, man. All right, none of us ever said that. Okay, the apostles of Great Millstone never said that. ETT has never said that. Nobody has ever said that, man. Okay, so you guys out there who are bearing false witness on the apostles, shame on you guys, man. You guys are gonna have to answer to the Lord, man. The scriptures say what, that a man has to give an account for every word that he speaks, man. Right. So you guys out there who knowingly knew you were wrong, but still insisted, in bearing false witness against the apostle of Great Millstone, you guys are gonna have to pay for that, man. Okay, because I mean, hell, even if you disagree, it's like just be a man and disagree. I mean, why do you have to, you know, create a scene, for lack of better words? I mean, hell, just be a man and disagree and keep it moving. Right? That's just, that shows you that you're the stronger player. Okay, and if you disagree, it's like, okay, man, I'll accept that. We'll disagree, and then we'll keep it moving, and that's cool. That's the way it's supposed to be. Like, I'll give an example. Mine and God will come on the show, and we'll talk about, he said that, the elect have to, they're going to be saved before the tribulation. I teach they're going to have to go through the great tribulation, which is clear in the text. But hey, it's like, okay. I mean, hey, if he teaches that, it's like, okay, cool. I disagree, but hey, we'll keep it moving, right? That's cool. You could be right, I could be wrong. I could be right, you could be wrong. But we'll find out, and near time to come, for lack of better words. Bear for me a moment. And I've noticed, man, it's getting damn chilly out here now, man. Bear for me a moment. Oh man. But yeah, man, going back to what I was speaking about, it's very clear, the time which we are finding ourselves in right now, man. All right. Hell, man, only at this point, only a damn, coon, right? Only a fool could not see what's going on right now, man. Hell, the writing is on the wall, man. Not literally, but figuratively. Let me see real quick. LOP put up Ezekiel 9 and verse 3. It says, "And he called the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side." If you could put up the other precepts to correlate your argument, I would appreciate that. As far as that, right? Oh, he did. Oh, maybe that. It says, "And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city and through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry." Right. Yeah. That's not literal. Right. That's not literal. It's a spiritual mark. Okay. And I'll give an example. The scriptures say that Christ has 7 eyes. Do you agree that Christ has 7 eyes, or do you agree that's parabolic to mean something else? LOP, if you want to join, man, there's a link up above. If you want to come on for a couple minutes, man, you're welcome to join. We can discuss. All right, you're welcome to come on. Oh, and also, by the way, tomorrow, which is the 4th, I have I'll respond to that in a second. We have a brother coming on the show that he came on to discuss the topic of Trinity, who can receive salvation, and all of that jazz. So we're going to be doing that, Lord willing, tomorrow. I arranged with him sometime in the early evening. We're gonna come on the show, and he we'll have put on a good little show, right? The actors are gonna act. Inside joke. But let me see. LOP said, if it's not literal, why did he say the writer's inkhorn? Though, and hope I'm pronouncing that word correctly. Why did he say that? I would say because that's figurative, right? That's not literal. And I'll give an example. I will give an example. When you deal with let's see, what could I use? What would be a good example that I could use to illustrate? Okay, let me ask you this. For the elect, right? For the elect of God, the 144,000, it says that they had a seal in their foreheads. Are you saying that's literal? Is that literal? And if it is, can you demonstrate to me how that is literal? And if you agree that's not literal, well, how could you conclude it's not if it says that they had a mark on their foreheads? And as I said, this isn't for everyone. So if you can't get it, and that's cool, right? There's no beef. You're welcome to believe that that's physical. I would say it is not. But if you want to believe that, that's cool, man. Right? That there's no beef. It's cool. Let's see. Hey, Mina God must be out playing golf right now. And we have a debate coming up between me and him where he wanted to come on and debate about the the rapture and the the elect being saved before the Great Tribulation. And here's the whole thing with that, right? When you deal with the tribulation, it depends on which verse you go to. There's verses that I'll give an example. Daniel, the 12th chapter, speaks about what? A time of trouble such as never before, which we call Jacob's trouble. Second Ezra, the 16th chapter, speaks about a time of great mourning and a time of great death. Matthew speaks about the tribulation of those days. And then other books might mention the word great tribulation. So he says that tribulation and great tribulation are 2 different time periods. Well, my question to him, which I asked him this and he cannot answer this, because he'll make a fool of himself. I asked him, it's like, okay, so the other two verses I quoted, one of them speaks about a time of great mourning and a time of great death, and the other one speaks about a time of trouble such as is not since men were upon the earth. So are those also talking about two different time periods in time? And if not, how could you then say that's also talking about the Great Tribulation or the Tribulation if it uses different words to describe it? Now, of course, my answer is it is all talking about one time, which is the time we're coming into right now, which is the Great Tribulation. But according to his understanding, my question would be, is okay, well, by logical deduction, you must agree there are four times, four stages of great trouble. Okay, by logic, you would have to agree to that. I could not understand how one could not. Let me see. LP said, I am not sure for 100%, but the one in Ezekiel, I'd say it's literal. The one in Revelation, I am not sure. Probably not literal, but I can't say for certainty. Okay, that's cool. Right, we'll roll with that. Well, I mean, I do have to ask you though, if that's the case, well, what about I mean, how do you not know, right? If the one is literal, what makes you think the other one is not? Just so I can understand. All right, and I'm not putting on you. That's cool. Red, I'll accept that answer. Hey, the scriptures say, let every man work out his own salvation, right? Say, hey, you could be right, I could be wrong, and that's cool. That's all cool. But that would be my question to you. Let's see. Oh, and as far as all the nations receiving salvation, that's clearly not in the scriptures, man. All right, all nations being saved. Now, here's what you have to understand. Okay, and this is where a lot of these guys go off. Is that in the kingdom of Christ, all nations are going to be on the earth. Okay, you are going to have all other nations of people on the earth who are going to be under the Israelites. Okay, so on this side, they're going to have people who are caught in that lake of fire, but they're going to be born back into Christ's kingdom. And this is why the scriptures speak about two resurrections. There's the one resurrection, which is for the righteous, but there's also going to be a second resurrection, which is for the Israelites who took part in the lake of fire, right? We call them the two-third. And also the other nations who were destroyed in the fire, they're going to be born back again into Christ's kingdom. And you see, and this is where you lose a lot of guys, man, because it's very clear in the scriptures, right? There's many you could go to, say, for an example, Daniel 12th chapter says, some shall awake to everlasting shame and contempt, right? And some shall awake to everlasting peace and joy. Nearly paraphrasing the text, but you can read it yourself. Okay, Daniel, the 12th chapter. I believe it's the second verse. Right, but it speaks about what? Some shall awake to everlasting shame and contempt. So my question is, who is that talking about then? Who are these people who are awaking to everlasting pain and contempt? And you ask Mighty God that, and it's like, look at you like you got, 9 heads, because they don't know. You know what I'm saying? Let me see real quick. LP said, Revelation 14:1 says, I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. Now, what is that talking about? Is that literal? That's not literal. All right, that's not literal. That means that they were saved. Okay, those men were saved. Those men were of the elect. It's a spiritual mark, right? It's not literal. And let me give an example. By that line of reasoning, we would have to conclude that Babylon the Great is not in existence yet, because there is not a nation which is called Mystery Babylon the Great, because the text says that the nation will have upon her forehead. Which way is that literal? How can a nation have on its forehead a name written? Which is what? Mystery Babylon the Great. There's no nation that has that name written. So therefore, we have to conclude that either it's not literal, or it's not in existence yet because it's not here. And then second of all, it says it's a woman. Is that literal? Do you agree that's literal? Yes or no? So you see, you ask certain questions, and I'm not putting this on our brother here. I'll respect his disagreement. That's cool. But this is some food for thought. For other brothers out here who might have thought similar, who have questions regarding this matter. Just to clarify that, so we're not at all coming against our brother LOP here. He's entitled to his own opinion and belief regarding the text. That's certainly true. But I'm just putting that out there. Okay, let me just see. He said, what about this? It says Father's name written in their foreheads. So it's written invisible. The Father's name written in foreheads is the seal of God, right? Yes, the seal of God is yes, I would say that is the seal of God, but it's not literal, right? They don't literally have the Father's name written on their heads, like with a damn Sharpie or sign. That's not what it's talking about. The scriptures are parabolic. That's not literal. Okay, just like I'll give an example. The scriptures say there's a lion with eagle's wings. Do you agree with the text? Or are you going to say that's parabolic and is not actually talking about a creature we would call a griffin, right? A lion with eagle's wings, right? It's symbolic of an empire which has existed. Excuse my stutter. An empire which has existed in the history of mankind. It's not talking about a actual creature which has those. But can I then bring up the text and say, but look, it says there's a lion who has eagle's wings. So see, so that has to be literal. You know what I'm saying? So that's just some food for thought. Let me see real quick. I said, but there's this verse, Isaiah 35:10. It says, "And the ransom of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads." Let me read that last part again. It says, "And come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads." I don't see how we could make a correlation. Oh, it says they're going to have everlasting joy upon their heads. Does that mean they're actually going to have joy upon their heads, like physical? That's obviously metaphorical. It's clearly metaphorical, right? It's not literal. And I think that verse, let me even put it on the screen. I think that verse actually proves my argument. For lack of better words. Let me even read that again. It says, what about this verse? Isaiah 35:10 says, "And the ransom of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy on their heads." Right. That's not literally talking about songs upon their head. Right. Like, I mean, are they literally going to have a drum set upon their head? Of course not. That's stupid to believe that. And I'm not saying he says that. I'm not saying LOP says that, but I'm just saying, for one out there who believes that's literal, it just wouldn't make logical sense. It's clearly, may I say, metaphorical. Let me see. It said, okay, I see now. It is spiritual, not illiteral. This verse in Isaiah proves it because ransom saved. Yeah, you're LOP. Hey, now you're getting it. Right now you're getting it. Right. So hey, I'll give you a round of applause. Right. A round of applause to our brother LOP. Right now he's getting it. And that's cool. That's all good. So right, as far as the mark of God goes, that's a spiritual mark upon us. Okay, we're spiritually, sealed. Okay, so you can't tell somebody they're not sealed, when you are. We don't know who is at the end of the day. All right, but that's and that's where faith comes in, because we don't know at the end of the day, if we're part of the elect or not. That's not for us to know. Okay. Now, as far as this thing, mind of God's going around talking about that, the Hebrew Israelites are going off, for cursing out the other nations. Well, that's in the scriptures. Okay, the other nations, such as the Edomites, or I'll just call them the E, because YouTube don't like certain words, but the E, that nation of people still exists today. They were never done away with. What is it? Obadiah 1:18. That hasn't came to pass yet. Scripture said, what is that? Second Ezra 6:9. For E is the end of the world, but Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Right. So those people are still around. And according to the scriptures, and E, they cannot receive salvation. So we're supposed to tell that a group of people they cannot receive salvation because they cannot, according to the text. Now, as far as you're going to have Israelites who do look like all nations of people. That is true. Okay, so that's why you can't, say for an example, if you see a white man walking around, you can't say 100% and that man is an Edomite. He might actually be an Israelite. And it goes down to the spirit at the end of the day. If you can hear what we're teaching and you can sincerely believe in it, you can full heartedly believe in this message, then hey, then you're a brother then. And we're not IDing you, saying, oh, well, this guy's white, so he can't be one of us. No, we're not saying that. Hey, look, you are going to have people who are white skinned who are actually Israelites. Okay? That is a truth. That is true. Okay? That you will have some people who are of that nationality who actually are Israelites. Okay? That is true. All right? Israelites were scattered throughout all the world and today look like all nations of people. And that goes back to, what is that? The sons of God in Genesis, the 6th chapter. Right? The sons of God were the Israelites, right? The Israelites came down and slept with the daughters of men, which is the daughters of the other nations who were around in that area. Okay, so and that's a whole nother thing, because Christians will use that to say that there's angels fell from heaven and had sexual intercourse with humans, which that's clearly not in the scriptures. That's not in the scriptures. That's a Christian doctrine, right? But the sons of God, which it speaks about, represent the Israelites, and to prove that, you go to what is that? Psalms, the 82nd chapter, 6th verse. It says what? For ye are the sons of God, right? It says for you, and it's speaking to men, right? It says they are the sons of God, which is primarily speaking to the children of Israel. Okay, but the point of the matter is made clear that the sons of God represent the people. They're not talking about angels that came down from the heavens and slept with females. That's not what it's talking about. But that's what the church teaches, right? Christianity will teach that nonsense. Let me just grab a drink real quick. I mean, damn, man, I come out here, it's damn cold. Now it feels like damn hot out here, man. Let's see. Right, but hey, look, man. At the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, right? As a mind of God would like to say. The proof is clear. Okay, the proof is clear and it stands for itself. Okay, that we're clearly in those times, and that Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is about to return. Okay, Yahweh Shai is about to return and to take Babylon the Great, America, down out of power. Right, that's what's about to take place in this time which we are in right now. Right, which is what the last days of the last days. Okay, that's clearly the time we're in. Anybody saying we're not, well, then you should avoid them. Okay, because I mean, at this point, man, it's too late in the game. You just got to, pick a group of teachers and stay with them. Okay, and I'll speak, from my own experience that there was many guys I used to follow, on this platform before I came across, the Hebrew Israelites. Let me just open this bottle real quick. And I would watch them for a number of years, but then what I did is, because I realized that wait a second, these guys sounded good with what they're teaching, but now since I'm coming into this new knowledge and in this field of knowledge by these Hebrew Israelites, what these guys are saying, these Christian teachers, and these Hebrew Israelites, I mean, there's no comparison. Right? These Hebrew Israelites, are putting these Christians into the grave, into the grave early, metaphorically speaking. Or in other words, they're getting turned into spiritual punching bags. You know what I'm saying? So, guys out there, like, I'll give an example, Call for an Uprising, which I still watch him once in a while. He does a couple good things. But he's pushing that Christ doctrine. And then the other guy, he calls himself Wayne Levi Price. His channel name is The Tribulation Saints. I've known about that guy for a good 9 years now. But I haven't watched that guy in years. You know why? Because then you find out that they're teaching off, right? What they're teaching is off. They're teaching that what? That Christ, is white, that Christ came to save every person, that God and Satan are in a battle together, and all that nonsense, man. And I know because I was brought up in the church, so I know, a majority of the doctrine, for lack of better words. Let me just grab a drink real quick. Right, but man, it's at the end of the day, I think it's self-explanatory. Who the ones are who are teaching the truth, okay, or as the Atlantis report would say, right, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth inside Job, right? But hey, I mean, it's clear, man. It's clear that the apostles a great millstone. Starting with Elder Apostle Tahar on down. It's clear that the Lord's dealing with those men, right? It's clear that the apostles a great millstone have the truth. Okay, it's very clear. Now, I'm not going to say they have 100% truth, right? That's up in the air, but they definitely the Lord's dealing with those brothers, man. Okay, and I, will say that if you're going to follow a group, I'll tell you, hey, look, man, go get under Apostle Tahar, man. Right, go get with Great Millstone. Go get under Apostle Tahar of Great Millstone. All right, because those guys got the truth, man. Compared to these other cats out here like Sakari, ISUPK, LUIC, GLCC, right? What's those other guys? One Body in Yahushai. Just name other, groups out here. Hey, get with Great Millstone, man. Right, compared to these other groups, these cats are going on, man. Right, guys are teaching that the Edomites can be saved. Guys are teaching that that you can take the MOB and still receive salvation. Guys be teaching that Babylon is the Vatican City. Guys be teaching that Yahushua isn't a black man. A whole bunch of nonsense, man, is what a lot of these groups are out here, teaching. So I mean, there comes a point where you're able to see through the we'll say the BS. You're able to see through the BS, for lack of better words, man. You're able to see, through a lot of these guys, man, and see it. They're just as I will call them, phony baloney. That's what a lot of these guys are out here, man. Just a bunch of or as just like Mario said in that racist Mario video, right? They're pretendos, right? They're pretenders. They're pretendos inside joke. Um, right? They're pretendos, as Mario would say, right? A lot of these guys out here, man, they're pretenders, right? Pretendos, right? They don't know. They're just out there to take your money, man. And that's what a lot of these groups are out here doing. Hey, but you got to give credit, man, where it's due, because Ray Millstone ain't out here trying to take your money, man. All right, unlike these other groups out here. I mean, hell, as Mind of God always, calls out Sicario for them. As they're on there selling, face masks, as Mind of God will call them, those face diapers, right? They're on there selling face diapers. So at the end of the day, man, you just have to look at everything going on, and you can see, who are the ones that are really, pushing this truth, in these times that we're in right now, man. Okay, you can see, okay, you can clearly see who the Lord is dealing with, okay, and who the Lord is not dealing with. It's becoming evident right now. Okay, so you want to be on the right hand side of the Lord, as Mind of God would say, but you want to be on the right hand, not the left hand. Because the Lord controls both the sides. The Lord controls both the left and the right. What is that? That's Proverbs 29:2, right? The heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord, and as the rivers of water, he turns it whatsoever he will, right? So, everything going on, in the world right now, the Lord is really behind it, right? God is behind everything going on in the world, okay? Whether that be evil, whether that be good, whether that be positive, whether that be negative, all of that, goes back to the Most High. And anyone who doesn't agree, it's like, okay, well, then they don't agree with the text. Now, of course, it should be mentioned that a lot of people, when they hear that, they won't accept that simply because, not that they're, may I say, ignorant and don't believe in the truth, but a lot of them will first reject that notion because they simply have not, taken the time to look into the information to prove it that is true. Okay, so that should be taken into consideration, when you talk to certain people. And I'll give an example. I remember a few years back, man, I had a debate with our friend, what's that cat? The Loving Christian, right? Today he calls himself the King Lion. We had a debate with him because he was on there saying that Babylon's Vatican City. But then over time, as I went back and forth with the brother, he ended up saying, "Oh, yeah, you're right. I was wrong. You're right. So I'm going to teach that." And lo and behold, here we are 3 years later, and he's held true to that. He's still teaching that. Okay, it should be mentioned that that brother pretty much, he isn't as spiritually strong as it was back then, for lack of better words, right? He's, fallen away, but he's still on there. He still believes in the prophecies of the book, man. And the scriptures say what? Blessed is the man who keeps these sayings in his heart, right? Blessed is the man who hears the sayings of this book, right? Because you're going to have people who, when that day comes, in the very near future, where they, they're presented with the choice to take the, MOB, they're going to remember and say, wait a second, those crazy Hebrew Israelites who were, screaming on the street corners every few days, I heard them tell me this was going to happen, and here it is. So, what they might say, what, I'm not going to do this because those crazy guys were talking about this. I thought they were crazy, but now I see it. Right now, it's really happening. So, what? After all, I'm actually going to listen to them. You are going to have a lot of people who are actually going to, be like that. Okay. Right now, they might not believe, but when they see this stuff happens, they might actually believe, right? You're going to have a lot of, may I say, believers in this thing who are going to come in at the very last hour, man. In fact, there's a parable about that in the scriptures. Okay, dealing with the in the morning, a laborer was hired, right? The man agreed to give him a penny for his labor. At noon, a few more were brought into labor in the field, right, with the one who came in the morning, and then later in the day, towards evening, a few more men were agreed upon, to labor for the rest of the day for a penny. And at the end of the day, when the end of the day came, they each got their pay, which they all agreed to a penny. But the one who worked the longest, he was like, well, I should have got more than those guys who, just came into, this field and work. Why am I not getting more? And the man who was in charge said, well, you agreed to work for this penny. So there you go. And the point of the matter, the point of the parable is that you're going to have some who come into this thing at the very last moments, man, right? Just about when Yahushua is about to return, right? Some brothers might come into this thing, just when they're about to administer the MOB, right? The very last, times before Yahushua returns, and they're going to receive salvation. Compared to us who've been in this truth for, just like the Tahar, 30 plus years, I, ETT, 8 years, other brothers, 15 years. We've been out here laboring, and teaching for much longer than they have. But at the end of the day, we're all going to, we're all looking to receive that same reward, which is what? The kingdom. Now, of course, it should be noted that, some men are going to receive more than others in the kingdom, but, hey, we just want to get there, man. In fact, I believe it was David. He said that I would rather, give all this up just so that I could be a doorkeeper in the kingdom of my Lord. Right. So David, which was a very wealthy man. I mean, he had everything you could want. And he said, hey, look, all of this is worth nothing compared to the kingdom, where I would be, may I say, what's the word I could be looking for? I would be grateful if I could just be a doorkeeper in the kingdom of my God, nearly paraphrasing the text. Okay, but that shows you, man. And that was a very wealthy man. All right, so it speaks for itself, man. Okay, it's it speaks for itself. Okay, that we're laboring to enter into that rest, which is the kingdom. Okay, but the only way to receive, such a great inheritance is you first have to, put into labor. And that's, what is that? That's Second Ezra 7th chapter. Here, excuse me one moment. All right. If I had to sneeze. Hey, you know how that feeling is at the back of your nose. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying, that at the end of the day, man, we're all just looking to make it, man. Right? We're just looking to make it into the kingdom. All right. Some of us are going to be rewarded greater than others, but at the end of the day, we're just looking to make it. And Christ said, what? Every man will be rewarded according to his own works. Right. So, my reward might be greater than yours. Yours might be greater than mine. Mine of God's might be greater than mine. I mean, hell, mine of God might be a slave in the kingdom. That could be true. Or he could be an Israelite and be a ruler in the kingdom. Okay. Each of those possibilities are certainly possible. Okay. But, we're going to find out, man. Oh, and as far as I wanted to speak about this, as far as the servitude in the kingdom, which is going to be a lesson coming up very soon, going more in depth into that field of knowledge, dealing with servitude in the kingdom, because these guys are out here saying that in the kingdom everything's going to be all peaches and cream, which is nonsense. Okay, that's that Christian doctrine. But according to the Bible, and there's too many verses to even count that speak about this, that there's going to be servitude in Christ's kingdom. I'll give a couple examples. Isaiah the 60th chapter, Isaiah the 49th chapter, Psalms the 2nd chapter, what is that? Revelation the 2nd chapter. There's many more. What is that? Psalms 148. Just to give a handful of examples that you can pull up yourself and read. They speak about servitude in Christ's kingdom, and of course, one of my favorites. What is that? Revelation 13:10. Right? He that leads. Excuse my stutter. He that leads into captivity, he himself must be taken into captivity. He that kills with the sword, he himself must be killed with the sword. That's a literal right there. Okay, if you lead someone into captivity, then you're going into captivity. If you killed someone, then you got to get killed for that. Okay, hey, he that kills with the sword, he himself has to be killed by a sword. Right? That's literal. And that's going to be fulfilled in Christ's kingdom, man. All right, what is that? Revelation the 2nd chapter. Oh, we can't forget that one, which is by far one of the greatest. And I can quote that one. It says, bear with me a moment. It says, to him that overcomes, he will gain power over the nations, and he will rule over them with a rod of iron. Right? So that's clearly, talking about these nations going into servitude in Christ's kingdom. Okay, so you got these cats out here, man, that don't subscribe to that. Well, it's like, hey, then y'all cats are going off, man. But y'all cats are going off. All right, you guys are pushing that Christian doctrine. Okay, but hey, the text speaks for itself, man. All right, the scriptures say that there will be servitude in the kingdom of Christ for the other nations. And anyone who doesn't agree, it's like, okay, well, you don't agree with the text. All right, so pretty much, I'm not going to go for too much longer here. Let me see, unless we can get a brother to click that link. But other than that, I cut the video a little short, which I suppose not necessarily short. It's over an hour. So which I'm actually going to let it go to an hour and 20 minutes, just because of my OCD. As far as dealing with the Trinity, we'll focus on that a few minutes. Which the brother's coming on tomorrow. according to our schedule, we agreed to tomorrow afternoon or mid-evening. Mid-evening, the brother's going to come on and we're going to discuss the Trinity as one of the topics we wanted to discuss. So, my question regarding the Trinity is I would have to ask one question. And the one question which I would like to ask is who is the God of God? Let me say that again. Who is the God of God? That is my question to a Trinitarian. Which a Trinitarian, because Mighty God had to look the word up last time, because he was like, well, that's $1 million word, right? But a Trinitarian means one who believes in the Trinity, right? So my question to a Trinitarian, aka one who believes in the Trinity, they believe that no, God the Son and the Holy Spirit are one person. My question is, who is the God of God? And the reason why I say that is because there's many places where Christ said, to him that overcomes, he will sit in my kingdom in the temple of my God, and he shall be the son of my God. So my question is, Christ is on there saying his God, right? His God. He says it 4 times in one chapter. I mean, one verse, he says it 4 times. His God, right? So if Christ is God, right? Well, my question is, well, who is the God of God then? Christ literally said his God. So who is the God of God then? And I really want to see how he's going to answer that, right? Which we'll have all the precepts to, pull out for him, so we can acknowledge them. Okay, but I think it's very clear, man. Okay, I think it's very clear. A lot of these, cats, don't really know a whole lot. I think that's an understatement. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as the chariots go, because you got guys out here, man, they're talking about, that the UFOs are not God's chariots. Yeah, that's clearly off, man. A lot of you cats are clearly off. Right? The chariots are clearly the UFOs are clearly the chariots of God, man. Right? The angels are inside of those chariots, right? Those so-called UFOs, right? As people in the world will call them, right? UFOs. We call them IFOs, right? It's which stands for what? A identifiable flying object. Says UFO stands for unidentifiable flying object, right? So we call them IFOs, right? They're identifiable flying objects, and you can identify them because they're talking about those UFOs are talking about what I shouldn't say talking about. They are, for lack of better words, they are the vehicles of the highest power, man. Right? The angels of God are inside of those UFOs. Okay, and they're watching over us all. Okay, they're watching over the good, the wicked, all of us. Okay, the scriptures say what the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun is what the scriptures say. Okay, the scriptures say the eyes of the Most High are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, and I believe that's in the book of Ecclesiasticus. Let me see. And what does that mean? It basically means that the Lord knows all things which is going on. Is it not true that the Most High is the Alpha and Omega? Right. That's how the prophecies, are in the scriptures. Right, because those things have not happened yet, but yet Yahweh, sent, an angel to show to John, many other prophets of the scriptures, things which are going to happen in the future. And we're seeing those things be fulfilled right now. But, those, prophecies were given, thousands of years in the past, man. Right. So that gives the authenticity, to the text. Because what other, religious, text, contains prophecies, which what does the word prophecy mean? The word prophecy, it means to say before. Okay. The word prophecy, it means to say before is what the word means. Okay, to say something before it happens. Okay. Let me just hit the comments real quick. Excuse me, just had to sneeze. Let me see. One brother said, how do we save ourselves? I'll answer that question. How do we save ourselves? Well, the way that we save ourselves is we have to, we have to trust in Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ. Because, my brother, I'll tell you a truth, right? I tell you of a truth, and that truth I tell you of is that, hey, look, I can't save myself. You cannot save yourself. None of us can save ourselves. It's not possible. Okay, the only way that we can escape, the destruction, which is to come in the near future, is being part of that elect. Okay, which we're all going to have to go through the time of the time of the great tribulation, right? The time of great trouble, which we're coming into that right now. We're in the scriptures refer to it as the birth pains, is what it refers to it as, right? Basically, we're in the beginning of when all these calamities are going to happen. We're just in the beginning stages. Okay, but in the very near future, things are going to get worse and worse and worse. That's just how it is, and we're not going anywhere. Okay, the only way you're going to get out of the world is either you die or pretty much that's it. The only way to get out of here is to pass away. There's no rapture that's happening until the end of the tribulation. And that, what is that? Matthew 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days will the Son of Man return. You can read it yourself. All right. So Christ is not returning until after the Great Tribulation, which is a time which we are coming to right now. Okay. So don't believe these guys out here like mind of God, or these Seventh Day Adventists, which not the Seventh Day Adventists, I should say the Catholics. The Seventh Day Adventists do not teach the you know pre-tribulation rapture. Mind of God calls it the pre-plague rapture, but most people refer to it as a pre-tribulation rapture. So I should, of course, put that the liberation, for lack of better words, between the two groups, of course. Because I don't want to misrepresent what they say. So let me hit the comments. LOP said, "It's in one Iron Maiden song. Brighter than a thousand suns," might be referring to the eyes of God. Yeah, that could be true, right? Because these guys who write these these songs and these Hollywood movies, these guys know the scriptures, right? These guys, study the scriptures. The scriptures speak about the children of this world. They are wiser than the children of light. Okay, the children of this world, which represents who? The wicked, right? The other nations. They're wiser than the Lord's people, which are who? The Israelites. So-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, which are the true Israelites, of the Bible. Oh, and another thing, I can't forget about this. I'm going into Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, which I will pull the scriptures up and read it, but I don't, have it with me here. But dealing with Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, there's a certain part of the text, I believe it's around the 40th verse, where it speaks about the children of Israel being taken to Arsareth, and dwelling there until the end of days, basically. Okay, Mind of God was saying that hasn't happened yet, and that's talking about the elect being raptured from America and being put in somewhere where we don't know. That's called Arsareth. I believe he might have said it's over in the Middle East. I could be mistaken on that though. But as far as that goes, I do have to respond because he asked me. That's not true. Second Ezra's, I read over it and I was listening to a few brothers' videos where they brought the text out, so I was looking at it, and yeah, that's clearly Arsareth is referring to America, right? And that's talking about how the Native Americans, which are the tribes of Gad and Reuben, that's how they got over here, right? That's how Israelites got over here. In fact, it clearly proves it in the text. You know why? Because if you read above that point, and it speaks about in the days of these kings, and it gives the name of the two kings when this event took place. Okay, it gives the name of the two kings when this taken place. Hold on. LOP said, I gotta read it. You said to Ezra 13. Yeah, Second Ezra's the 13th chapter. I believe it's around the 40th verse, right? You don't have to read the entire chapter. I believe it's around the 40th verse. It speaks about the Israelites being taken to a land called Orsareth, and they would be dwelling there till the last times. Mind of God says that it hasn't happened yet. I'll tell you that that has happened yet. That already happened. And here's a few points. I already brought out the one point, because if you read up before that, it says in the days of these kings, and it names the two kings. It says that this is going to happen in the times of those kings, right? So when those kings were in rulership, the Israelites came over here by ship, and this is before the slave trade. So this isn't talking about that. This is before how the what we would call the Native Americans, right? Which the Native Americans are Israelites. Okay, so that's how the Native Americans got over here. The Israelites came and they dwelt here, right? It says the land where never mankind dwelt, and that's talking about America, because no nation, no civilization was over here until the Native Americans, aka the Israelites, set foot on this land. Okay, and that's just true. So I mean, I don't see how one could read that and tell me that hasn't happened. I mean, yeah, that's going off, right? It's Arsaret is talking about America. All right. Let me see. And then another good point is it says that they shall dwell in this land until the times of the end. So if he agrees we're in the time of the end, so when the hell is this going to take place then? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? So um I mean, I don't have much else I wanted to elaborate on. I might go a few more minutes. If any brother has a question in the chat, you're welcome to post it. If you have any topic you'd like to may I say elaborate on, you're welcome to post it in the chat and we can dwell on that for a few moments. Let me see. Just grab a drink real quick. Right, but at the end of the day, going back to the question the one brother asked about how do we save ourselves? And I'll answer that again. The way you can save yourself is by getting closer to the Lord. Okay, so that's really the only way. You can't deliver yourself. I can't deliver myself. No man can deliver himself. In fact, what is that? That's what is that? Second Ezra? Not Second Ezra. That's Revelation, the 20th chapter. Speaks about the great white throne judgment, which actually, by the way, I did a lesson on that, which is not yet uploaded to YouTube. So in a day or two, I'm gonna upload that. I did a little breakdown on the judgment day, right? Great white throne judgment, which is Revelation, the 20th chapter. A good follow-up verse would be Matthew, the 25th chapter. But it speaks about that anybody who their name was not written in the book of life, and they would have their part in the lake of fire, right? So if your name was not written, then you can't be saved, right? You'll be put to death unless you were a friend of the Lord, right? A friend of Yahushai. And that's the only way to get your name written in the book of life. That's the only way to be spared. And you could read that yourself. Okay, so as I said, unless LOP has another topic he'd like me to elaborate on, I might end the show in a few minutes here. Let me see. Yeah, man. I mean, just crazy, man. It's just it's unbelievable. Some of the stuff that's going on right now, man. All right, especially over here in Babylon the Great, aka America. Just a lot of stuff that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hell, you can't take your children anywhere without running into one of these I call them rainbow people, right? Rainbow. Which you know what I'm talking about. You got to be careful of the wording you use here on this platform nowadays. But you can't take your children anywhere without running into these people. Okay, so it just shows you that we're clearly in those times, man. It just shows you. like Christ. You can't do anything. Can't do anything without a vexation. You know, and even these people in the world, man, who don't even have a clue what the hell's going on. Even they're unnerved, man. I was watching a video the other day of this one veteran, right, that fought in I believe it was the Vietnam War, and he was on there yelling at a rainbowed who basically a mix between man and woman. I'm not going to use the word, but he came on into the man's shop and it was arguing with him, saying that he don't want him in there, right? That he's disgusted and don't like those activities, right? So it was very interesting to watch that because actually one was a Jake, right, a black man, and the other one was an Edomite, right, so-called white person. So it was definitely interesting to watch that. Anyway, let me hit the comments because I see we have a couple coming in here. Let me see. The one brother here said, would you say that the timeline in the Bible is correct? Would that mean there is still 500 years till Jesus returns? Absolutely not. I mean, I'm not sure what you're talking about. As far as the timeline in the Bible, where are you pulling this timeline from? If you could put a source in the comment section, or may I say a verse that you were quoting, I would appreciate that. Okay, so I can understand. But as far as the timeline goes, if you ask me, the only thing that has to be fulfilled right now before Christ returns is the MOB and the Third World War. And then after that, Christ could return any day. Okay, Christ is going to return during the Third World War. Okay, because if you read, what is that, Revelation, the 19th chapter, speaks about the kings of the earth are going to make war against Yahushua, right, against Christ. Okay, so they're going to be fighting once among another. Okay, but then they're going to turn and to fight this force, right, that's coming from the sky, these UFOs, which is really the Lord and his angels. In fact, when George Bush was in office, he did a speech, I believe it was in front of the United Nations. You can look it up on YouTube. But he spoke about that if there's ever a outside threat to the earth from other beings, we're going to have to all team together as one to fight against them, right? So they're telling you people in advance what they're doing. Okay, so let me see. So yeah, if you can, tell me what you're quoting, we can have a dialogue about that. But yeah, the coming of Christ is not at all far off from here. I would say the way that things are going, it might be another 2 years. But we're just going to have to watch and see. No man knows the day or the hour, but the scriptures say you can tell by the signs, and you clearly see that. So, we're clearly at the beginning of the stages of suffering, right? The beginning of sorrows, which is going to happen before Christ returns. Okay, so that'll be my response to that, unless you can, pull up the source. Anyway, let me see. We have LOP said, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 43 says, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. I meant Euphrates is in Mesopotamia, around the countries Iran, Iraq, and Turkey and Syria. Verse 45, for that country is a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the name of that region is called Arsareth. Right. And that region, which they are traveling to, which the only way to get there is they would have to go through those passageways onto the sea. Okay, so on the sea, which you can watch documentaries about this, but throughout the centuries and the millennia, there's been, they say millions of ships that have been claimed by the seas, right? The waves, would overcome the ships. In fact, when Yahushua was with the apostles, I believe this might be, oh, what is that? I believe that's Luke, the 14th chapter. Could be mistaken, but it Christ had to walk on the sea, right? Christ was walking on the sea, and which actually no, it's not that account. It's the one where he was sleeping under deck, right? And then the men on the ship and the apostles, they came to him and told him, Master, we are all going to perish because the waves of the sea are going to take us all down. So Christ woke up and he told the sea to allow them to pass, and the sea calmed, right? But the point of the matter is that gives authenticity to my statement, right? That the sea was is very difficult to navigate, throughout history. Today, it's not necessarily difficult. I mean, hell, even today you have shipwrecks that happen, even with the advanced technology we have today. But back then, dealing with just wooden ships and no, signal to call for help, so back then was very likely that ships would be taken down, right? So the Lord had to calm the ocean for them to make the passageway unto America, right? So our Arsereth is talking about the United States of America, which back then it wasn't called Babylon the Great, right? Because no man was dwelling there at that time. Bear with me a moment. He said the Bible starts at 4,000 AC. I'm not sure what you mean by AC. I'm not sure what you mean by that statement. The Bible starts at, I mean, are you talking about AC? Are you saying after creation? That he might be saying after creation. I'm not sure what that's an antonym for, okay, or a metaphor for AC, right? He could be saying after creation. And that, if you're saying that, I would have to disagree with that, because the story of creation actually happened over the course of 7,000 years. Okay, each day of the creation represented 1,000 years. Okay, the first day was 1,000 years, second day 1,000 years. Each day represented 1,000 years. So the story of creation of the world took place over 7,000 years. And how can I prove that to you? Because what is that? Second Peter 3:8, for one day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. Right. So each day was actually 1,000 years of time. So the course where the whole world was made, from the beginning of creation to the time that the Lord rested, it was 7,000 years that it took place. Okay, now how old is the Earth itself as of what is today's date? Today's date is September the 3rd, 2021. How old is the Earth from the beginning of creation to our current day? Now, of course, it is true that no man actually knows the exact day which the will came into existence. That is true. However, going by the text, which I can give a whole breakdown on this when I can pull up the scriptures, but scriptures speak about in the Apocrypha that the earth is broken down into 10 parts. Okay, and remember, this was given to Ezra 400 years before Christ. Okay, it says the world is broken into 12 parts. 10 parts of the world have already passed away, as there remain 2 parts left. They're nearly paraphrasing the text. Okay, but that would put us at roughly 12,500 years. Okay, so from the beginning of time until our current time is somewhere in the ballpark of 12,500 years and 12,600 years. Okay, somewhere in that range. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know exactly which number is between that. I'm not going to tell you that. However, I'm going to say, according to the text, it's excuse me, it's it's self-explanatory, right? The Earth is 12,500 years old, right? So Christians are on there, and this brother might be saying that he might believe in the at the 7,000 years or 6,000 years timeline of the Bible. That's not. If you could show me that, I'd look at it. But I mean, that can't be true, because the story of creation itself was 7,000 years. So I mean, that in and of itself would be incorrect. So and if you disagree, that's cool. But I mean, the evidence speaks for itself. It says, I'll quote the scripture again, Second Ezra 3, 2:8 or 3:8. It says, for one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years. It's clear as day. Okay, so each day represented 1,000 years at the creation of our world. Okay, so let me just hit the comments. LP said, I'll look into it more. He said, you mean BC? Yeah, let me read it like that. He said, the Bible starts at 4,000 before Christ. Now, I'm not sure if that's what he meant, right? So I'm trying to see if he can respond and tell me, just to clarify, because I don't want to put his words in his mouth. But yeah, if that's true, okay, I would say, and that's even if that was true, right? Well, how does that mean that there could be 500 years before Christ returns? I mean, what are you going by? Is what I'm interested in knowing, right? Now, if your statement is true, let's even go by that, right? So I'm just trying to know, well, what makes you think that there's another 500 years before Christ could return, right? I'm not sure where you're getting that timeline from. Let me see. Um, which I'll stay. You know what? I'll go for another 20 minutes, and we'll even it out at 2 hours. So if you brothers have any more questions that you have, feel free to post them in the chat here, and I will address them. Okay, so hit me up with your questions, right? Because I'll stay for a little bit longer. He said Spanish Bible says 4,000 AC. My brother, can you answer the question I asked though? What are you taking this timeline off of? Because I've read the Bible twice, may I mention, and I have not seen this timeline in there. So if you could show me what you mean by this timeline, which would imply that there's 500 more years from our current time until Christ could appear. Well, I would have to ask you where you're getting that from, because I'm not seeing that in the scriptures. Inside joke. So no, if you can do that. Hey, um, hey, fresh and new. Hey, Shalom, fresh and new. We got fresh and new in the house here. He said AC means after Christ. So, oh, wait a second. If that's true, let's go back up and read that brother's comment real quick. If that's true, that might put this comment in a new light. Bear with me a moment. He said the Bible starts 4,000 after Christ. Yeah. I'm not sure if that brother's just playing around or if we're misunderstanding what he's trying to say. So I asked the brother to to clarify, for us, what he's trying to say. I'm not sure if he's sincere, because this is the first time I've seen him on this platform. So if the brother's truly sincere, then that's cool. You're welcome to stay. But if not, then just clarify for us what's going on. LOP said, LOL. So that would mean Christ will return in 4,000 after Christ. So 2,000 years from now. Excuse me. Yeah, that's laughable. And I'm not sure if that's what he's saying. That's why I said that we should allow him to elaborate. And I said it twice. And brother, if I see you responded, hey, look, man, please speak in English here, right? Hey, me no Spanish, right? Me no Spanish, me only English. Inside joke, right? Me only ETT only speak English, right? ETT only speak English. All right, English is what we speak here, which I know some brothers might speak different languages as well. So that's cool, but I myself can only speak English, so I ask of you to please type with that language on the chat board, just so I can understand your points. Bear with me a moment if you hear some noise. I'm actually walking down a little slope here. You go stand by the river a little bit, and it's actually around here, man. We actually have experienced a what could I call it? A lot of water, man. A lot of water. I mean, Christ, I don't even know if I can go over there. Christ, man. Damn little, looks like a damn little flood over here. Damn, hey man, I should have brought my my life straw, which basically is a that means I can drink from the pond water, is what that means. And you can look that up. I'm gonna actually show you guys this, just so you can see the water over here. Take a look at this. You guys see that? Like, damn, man, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. I was down here. Excuse the noise in the background. That's crazy. I was down here last week, in the area I'm at right now was like 6 feet from the water line, and now there's it's basically flooding all the way back, man. That's crazy. Damn, that's hard to believe, man. If the water that water literally came up, damn, like I want to say a good 6 feet, might even 7 feet. Like, damn, that's crazy, man. Uh, Let me just head back because it's pretty damn moist down here. Which this would be a good time to bury a cashy, which is basically a say for an example an SHTF, survival pack that you take and bury in the ground, so that when shit hits the fan, right? SHTF, if you need extra supplies, then you can come and dig those up, right? Look into a survival cache. But yeah, I mean, damn man, I should have bought the damn Sawyer Mini. I could have drank some of that damn water, man. I'm damn thirsty. Let's look into the Sawyer Mini if you don't know what that is. Um, you might be able to hear a generator in the background as well here. So excuse that. Um, and I'll get to the comments in just a moment. Let me just get up this mountain. Just wanted to check out that water real quick because I was interested because when I was coming down here, I remembered that I saw something on the news about the the Delaware, which the water I was just at was called the Delaware. I heard something about how it was like overflowing, man. So I wanted to come down here and see. It's like, Christ, man, that water got to be up a good 6, 7 feet. Where was that 5 days ago? Yeah, I'll get to the comments in just a moment here. Welcome back to sit somewhere. But yeah, hey man, the guy on there who was saying that the Earth is Oh, and real quick, let me just say this. If you guys disagree about me saying that the story of creation was 7,000 years, I ask of you to form your argument in the chat so we can address that. Okay, and hey, look, I'm fine with staying on, right? I can go longer. If you brothers, have some time on your hand and want to talk longer, that's fine. I can do that. I don't have to go just yet. If we can keep a chat, an active chat, I can stay a little while. It's totally fine. Let's see. Let's go back up to the chat. He says, start the timeline from after Adam, is what he said. Let me see. From Adam to our time. I'm not sure if I would I'm not sure if I'd agree with that. I'm not sure, but what I'm very interested in is you asked, could there be another 500 years till Christ returns? That's what I'm very interested in. So by that timeline, I mean, how are you contemplating that there could be another 500 years till Christ returns? That's what I'm trying to understand. Right. So even if that timeline is true, where are you getting this 500 years from? That's what I'm trying to ask, for a lack of better words. Let me sit down. All right, let me just hit the comments. Christian News said correction. I looked it up. He's right. It means before Christ. All right. LP said, yeah, I get it. But how did you come out that he will return 500 years from now? Yeah, and that's what I'm asking, right? We get that. If that's true, fair enough. But the question which we are trying to understand is how does that confirm that Christ could not return until 500 years from now? I'm that's what I can't understand about what the brother's saying. I'm not saying it's wrong, not saying it's right, but I'm just saying I don't see where he's taking that from. So I'm just asking him if he could explain, his reasoning, right? And we'll give the brother, some time to reason, and that's cool, right? That's how we like to handle it. If we disagree, that's cool. We'll give you time to form your sentence, and we can, discuss that. That's cool. And the scriptures speak about, letting everything be done decently and in order. Let me just see real quick. Yeah, water came up, man. LP said, looks like a nice place though. I love being in nature like that. Then he said, do you live far from the city? I live in a backwoods area, but I do live near a city. Which obviously I'm not going to put any names out there, of course, but to answer that question, I would say yes. But yeah, man, it definitely is good to get out into the nature, right? And I mean, hell, man, I need to go fishing a little bit more, man, because you got Mind of God out there, playing golf. I mean, who likes to do golf, man? I mean, hell, I'd rather go damn fishing. You know what I'm saying? I'm that kind of guy. Which Mind of God would be considered to be a rich man. So I mean, maybe that's just something that rich people do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, damn, Mind of God got enough money in his bank account to support me for the next couple millennia. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even being sarcastic. Right, so Mind of God would be considered to be a rich man, and ETT would be considered to be a poor man, right? So, in other words, which obviously I'm just being sarcastic, but in other words, it's the story of what is that? The story of Lazarus and the rich man, right? ETT is Lazarus, and the Mind of God is the rich man. Just messing with him, but that answers the question, right? Getting back to what we were saying, there's just too much that's happening right now, man. That we can clearly see that Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ, is clearly about to make his second return, man. Okay, you can clearly see it. Okay, that the time truly is at hand. And I believe I entitled the video that. Hard to remember 2 hours ago, but I believe I entitled it "The Time is at Hand," right? And the time truly is at hand right now, man. Okay, the scriptures say, "Blessed is the man who reads the book of this prophecy and keeps these sayings in his heart." What does that mean? That means what? Remembering the prophecies of the book, so that when you see these things happen, it will increase your faith. For an example, when the MOB comes out, which is the chip, right? RFID microchip. When that is manifested out in the world, you're going to remember, oh, those guys, those crazy GMS guys, they warned me of this. But you know what? Even though I don't think they got the truth, I'm still not going to take it because they could be right. You're going to have a lot of people like that, man, who might actually be saved. Okay? Let me just check real quick. He said, LP said, I don't play golf. I just like hiking though. Yeah, hiking's good, man. I went for a little hike. I want to say 2 weeks ago or so. Very relaxing. I of course ran into a couple people back there, but actually did a video on the trails. It's good to to get back there and to may I say get into nature a little bit, for lack of better words. Excuse the background noise here. You can hear that. Let me see the chat real quick. Said Mind of God said his money could run out in 4 months. Yeah, I mean, hell, man, the guy got, which I shouldn't put that out there, but I mean, damn. I mean, hell, man, ETT could live off that money for the next couple millennia, which a millennia is 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you save. Okay? That's just the way it is. Okay? It's not how much money that you have, it's how you spend the money. Hey, look, I'll tell you this, man. No, poor ass bastard like I myself, man. Hey, look, I would consider myself rich if I had $300. And I'm not even being sarcastic, man. I would consider myself to be a rich man if I had $300. And hell, if I had $3,000, I mean, hell, that's I just entered into the realm of luxury with that kind of money, man. I mean, hell, with that type of money, man. I mean, hell, with $3,000, that's enough to leave, generational wealth behind. You know what I'm saying? At least, from my hood, inside joke. But that's a sad truth. You know what I'm saying? I just keep it real. Just keep it real. That's what I like to do. But it just goes back to how you spend the money. Okay, might have got to be out there eating, damn, burrito bowls every night from, Chipotle. ETT be eating damn, Dollar Tree food. You know what I'm saying? So that goes back to what it was saying about no, it's how much it's not about how much money you have, but it's rather about how you spend the money. Okay, that's what it comes back to at the end of the day. Let me just take a drink real quick. All right. Let me see. It said creation 7 days, 7,000 years. Adam, the timeline starts 4,000 before Christ. With Christ, and now it's 2021. Let me see. That would yeah, I'm still not sure where he's getting at. All right, because let me see. Yeah, I would have to disagree with that. I think there's definitely some time that's missing in between there. Because mankind has been on the earth for like 6,000 years. Okay, man has been on the earth for 6,000 years. Okay, so I mean the brother could be on to a point, but I'm not getting it. All right, and he could be right. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying that, but I myself I can't see it. Okay, so maybe if he can give maybe make a video about it, that'd be cool, and I'll sit down and watch it. But no, yeah, if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you the Earth is 12 and a half thousand years old. That's how old the Earth is. Could be 12,600, could be 12,500, or somewhere in the middle. Okay, I'm not saying the exact number, but it's somewhere in that ballpark, for lack of better words, according to the scriptures. Um, let's see, more than a flame. Hey, more than a flame. Hey, shalom, shalom. More than a flame. Oh, I have a few words for you, brother. I have a few words for you. Me and Mine of God want to bring you onto our show to have a discussion. Okay, now that I have you here in the chat, I want you to listen real quick. Um, can you send me a message on Gmail? Okay, go to my page, my YouTube page, go to the About section. You can find my Gmail. Okay, send me a message on there, and we can arrange a day to bring you on because I'm all for that. I've been looking forward to doing this for a week now, man, since we last spoke. We want to bring you on the show, man, because I actually did watch your discussion you had with Good Servant. I was watching that, and you said some very interesting things, right? So me and Mine of God were we were discussing it, right? We didn't want to may I say put words in your mouth. We didn't want to misrepresent what you were saying, right? So we wanted to bring you onto the show, where we can discuss it, right? Because you said something which was, may I say, interesting. But I would definitely have to chat with you on that. You could be onto something, all right, but we definitely would have to, ask you a couple very, um, may I say, good questions for lack of better words. So, just hit me up in my Gmail and we can arrange a day to do a show together. We definitely want to bring you on the show. Um, I can't do tomorrow because I have there's another brother coming on the show tomorrow evening. So that's taken, but the day after that, we're certainly available. So no, yeah, just hit me up, and I'll definitely bring you on the show. Oh, it's by the way, I want to mention I reached out to this coon out there, which I like this guy, so no disrespect. He calls himself the Nephilim Free. Some of you might know him from a YouTube page called Modern Day Debates, right? Which he knows a lot. That guy's very intelligent on certain things. But then I asked him a couple questions regarding the Bible, and it's very clear his intelligence is limited to certain topics in the scriptures. He's very good at combating the topic of evolution versus creationism. Very good on that. I'll give him respect because he's very knowledgeable on those topics. However, there's clearly topics he's clearly what you would call a fool, right? One who is not knowledgeable on. Okay. Let me see real quick. Let me just hit the comments to see what's going on because looks like the chat's pretty active. More Than the Flame said, just like the Earth isn't a globe, it is not 2021. Which, I mean, in reality, excuse my stutter, in reality, we don't know what year it is. I mean, hell, we could be living in the 1600s. We could be living in, the 3000s. Nobody really knows because you see, that's just a term that man made up, right? Time. Okay, we don't know what year it is. And another thing as well, because we deal with the Hebrew years compared to these modern years, they're different times. Okay, there are different times. Okay, it's not all, may I say, equal. Okay, certain, say for an example, the Romans, they had calendars which had an 8, and I believe it was the Romans, they had 8 days of the week. We today have 7, but they had 8. Okay, and the other civilizations might have had a year that consisted of 200 days. We have one today that consists of 360 some days. I believe, what is it, 365? Not mistaken. Right. So that's self-explanatory. Let me just hit the comments. More Than the Flame said, I kind of lost my voice, but we can probably do a stream in the next few days if you're going to be around. Yeah, as I said, More Than the Flame hit me up on my Gmail, and we'll definitely work something out. Hey, I want to bring you on the show, right? You're the next guy after I deal with Brother tomorrow. I got to deal with him. We'll bring him on the show. But yeah, after that, I want to work out a day where we can bring you on, man. We can definitely have a very good discussion, right? Because we were looking for someone who believes in partial preterism. Because I listened to what you said, and I would say it's partial preterism, right? Not all things have not been fulfilled, but some things have. That's what the vibe I'm getting from what I heard from your statement. That certainly some things have not happened, but some things have happened, which I do agree that there are certain things in the scriptures which most certainly have already happened regarding prophecies. So I would say, yes, certainly certain eschatological, prophecies have certainly happened. That is true. But, you said some things that I would definitely have to, we definitely have to talk about because I think it's very interesting. But it's definitely worth a discussion about. But anyway, enough of that. Let me see what else is going on in the chat. This brother said, "Did Jesus say he will return on the 7th day?" I did not. I don't know where you're pulling that from. Now, could that be in the scriptures? You're gonna have to pull up a verse and show me that where Christ said he'll return on the 7th day. I didn't see that in the text. The scriptures say that no man knows the day or the hour, right? No man knows the day. So if you can pull up a verse to show me, then I will look into it. But if not, then I'm just going to have to, disagree with that. Let me see. More Than the Flame said, for sure, I'll hit you up on Gmail in a little bit. All right, sounds cool, man. LP said, why does he call himself a coon? Where are you talking about the guy Nephilim Free? He doesn't call himself a coon. I called him a coon, right? He's called Nephilim Free is what his name is, but I called him a coon. Okay, which again, don't get me wrong, I'm not disrespecting him because he's very intelligent on certain topics, but he's clearly, may I say, under the weather on you know, certain topics. I mean, hell, he's on there saying he don't know what Babylon is. He's on there saying that he don't know what the so-called Negroes or the Jews of the Bible. He's on there saying that he don't know we're not in the end times. He's on there talking about, the people over in Israel today are the Lord's chosen people. Just a lot of, you know, BS, man. Guy clearly lost his mind. Don't know what the hell he's talking about. But I tried to bring him on the show and he didn't want to come on. You know what I'm saying? So I reached out to him, but he didn't have the balls to come on the show. So that's all I'm gonna say. You know. So hey, that's cool. Right. Hey, you can't force anyone on the show. But hey, I reached out to him. He didn't want to come on. So that's on him. Just hey, send him, go on his page, Nephilim Free, look him up on YouTube, and tell him to join ETT and Mighty God and discuss them. Okay? Because he didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I reached out to him. He didn't want to come on. So it's like, okay, hey, if he has the balls, then he'll show up. But if not, then hey, it is what it is. Anyway, um, let's see. More than the Flame said, I believe we are in Revelation 20. The nations who got deceived after the millennia reign is over, aka the Dark Ages. Okay, so just so I know, right, the Dark Ages was the millennia reign of Christ. Okay. Good point to bring up would be, what was it? I believe it's called was it the plague, right? The plague that happened in the 13th century. I believe it's called the Black Death, right? If everybody knows what I'm talking about, you can correct me. I believe it happened in the 13th century, right? Where a vast majority of the population of the world was wiped out. So you're telling me, just so I know, so in the Middle Ages, right, the 13th century would be considered the Middle Age. So in the time of Christ is ruling, there was a plague that hit the world, right? I believe it was you can correct me on the name, I know, but it was a plague that hit the world, right? Which killed hundreds of millions of people. But that happened when Christ was ruling on earth, though, according to our brother here. And I'm not putting that on you. I just want to know, do you agree that did happen in the Middle Ages? You can Google it right now. So if that did happen in the Middle Ages, do you agree that happened when Christ was ruling on earth? So More Than a Flame, just so I know, which I'm not looking to debate it today, but just so I know, do you agree that did happen, yes or no? And I thank you for your answer in advance. Let me see. Fresh and New said, why is the word Elohim, which is plural, used in Genesis to refer to God which refers to himself in the plural? Now here's a big one. When you deal with the first scriptures, right? Genesis, the first chapter, and when it speaks about the God created the heaven and the earth, the word there, I believe it's Elohim or Elohim, which basically means the powers. Okay, so what happened is the highest, right? The Most High, he gave the orders unto the angels, and they went and constructed the world by the Lord's orders. And I'll give an example. You might have a man who has an establishment which he funds, but the construction workers go out and do his bidding. They go out and construct the building, but it's the man in charge who tells them exactly what to do, and he is in charge of it. But they are the mini workers who go out and do what he told them, right? So when you deal with that, it's speaking about the highest, the Most High, gave his angels the instructions on how to form the world. Okay, so they went out and formed the entire world. Okay, so that's the understanding of that chapter. Okay, the Most High gave the blueprint, and the angels, his servants, his construction workers, they went out and they formed the world by the commandment of the Most High. The Lord gave the words, and the angels went and fulfilled the words of God. Right, so God was the one who created all this, but he gave the order to the angels to create all this that we see. But it was really the Lord who did it, because he was the one who gave them the blueprint to do all this. So it all goes back to the Most High. Right? It's simple to understand. I might need to sneeze in a moment. It's weird, man. I mean, hell, it was hot out here 20 minutes ago. Now it's damn cold again. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell's going on out here with the weather, man. Weather be damn crazy. Let me see. Let's see. LOP said, good question. LOP said, Elohim is plural for God. Uh, right. I don't know how to pronounce the other word there. Excuse me. As I said, sometimes I have what's that called? Dyslexia, for lack of better words. Which sometimes basically means that you have a difficult time pronouncing certain words. So excuse me on that. But that's that would be the understanding which I will give on that topic for this moment. Right, is that the Most High gave the instructions to the angels, and they went and fulfilled the word of the Most High, which is what to create the world which we dwell on. Okay, I would say that's my response to that. Okay, is that's the understanding of it. Okay, as the Lord gave the order, the angels went and fulfilled the order of the Lord, which was what to create the entire world and everything in it. Which again, it took course over 7,000 years. Okay, it wasn't 7 actual days. Okay, like 7 24-hour days. That's not true. It was clearly each day represented 1,000 years. Okay, and we already went over that. Another thing as well, which is very interesting, is they actually found Noah's Ark. They found it on Mount Ararat over in Turkey. Now here's the interesting thing. If you go to what is that? That's Genesis the 9th chapter. Which you can start at Genesis the 6th chapter to read about the ark, right? The construction and what the Lord told Moses to do. But in the 9th chapter, when it came to arrest, it said it came to arrest on a mountain which is called Ararat. So they found in Turkey, on a mountain called Ararat, they found a massive boat structure that's 4,800 years old. Look into it. It's true. They found it. Okay, they found the structure, right? And they say, you have some who deny it's Noah's Ark, but they at least agree that it is most certainly some type of massive prehistoric boat. And again, look into it yourself. Just go on Google and look up Mount Ararat Noah's Ark. Okay, and you will see what I am telling you. Okay, another thing as well, they found Mount Sinai. They found it over in Saudi Arabia. Just go on Google, look up Mount Sinai, Saudi Arabia. You'll find hundreds of videos where they show you this mountain. And I mean, there's too many coincidences to say this is insignificant, because this is the only mountain that the top is burned. And what does that show? That the Lord descended on a mountain, as it says in the story. At the bottom of the mountain, there's 12 pillars of stone that are built there. And also, there's an altar near the mountain where they have menorahs and calves carved into the large altar which they have there. And again, look into all this yourself, so you can confirm this to be true. Okay, but they found these places; they actually exist. So that is what that gives authenticity to the text, is that these things actually exist. Bear with me a moment. I'll hit the comments in just a second here. Yeah, Mount Ararat. Right, I call it Mount Ararat, but you can call it that, right? It's basically the same thing. I call it a different pronunciation. But yeah, you're correct on that. I pronounce it different. Oh, excuse me. Fresh and News said, do you think that the Armenian stories copied the Bible, kind of like plagiarism? I'm not necessarily let me see. Then he said they have a story about the flood and a man who was saved. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. You have civilizations all over the world who existed throughout history who have stories about a great flood that took out their civilizations and fled the entire world. I do believe that those are certain stories, which of course stem down from this flood that actually happened. Right now, guys are out there talking about that some people survived it. Whether that's true or not, other than the 8 people in the ark, whether that's true or not, I couldn't tell you. The text says that nobody else did. Um, so I would say nobody else did, but yes, they could have most certainly taken those stories, and over time, from the people who got off the ark, right, and as they continue to multiply, they'll tell their children, this great story, and all these civilizations. Because remember, all the civilizations come from those 8 people, right? So they all will have a story of this event taking place. Some of it might be doctored, right? Just like, say, for an example, if you tell a story for 100 years, it's not going to be the same story at the end of the 100 years as it was at the beginning. Certain details over time, when it's being spoken by one person to the next, they're going to leave out certain details. So at the end of the day, it might be a different story than what it was, when it was first told. Okay. So, over time, they might have added or taken away certain parts of the story. So I would say that yes, I would say those are certainly true. However, some of them might have information in there which is false, right? But they do come from a true story, which is what when the world was flooded. They're just different stories of when it happens, for lack of it. Excuse me. Let me see real quick. LOP said Sumerian stories were older than the Bible, which I mean, I would say, it's not necessarily easy to date things. Okay, like say, I'll give an example. You can give somebody a rock and they'll tell you that, oh, well, that rock is 1 billion years old. It's like, well, how the hell do you know that's that old, right? So you can't just don't just believe something because they tell you. Now, could it be that old? Possible, but it doesn't mean it is because they say so, right? So it's really like playing with fire. You can't really know for sure. They're just basically going off of what they feel as it is. Say, for an example, I'll give an example. They'll tell you that the Earth is billions and billions of years old. Of course, we do not subscribe to that. We believe the Earth is a few thousand years old, right? So it shows you that I mean, think about that. How can one people believe in the Earth that's billions of years old, but another group believe that's only a few thousand, right? So it shows you that they can doctor the times, right? And another example, dealing with the dinosaurs, they say that they existed what is this 65 million years ago. How the hell do you know that? I mean, true. How the hell could one know that? Nobody can possibly know, but they're just making that up. Okay, so the point is clear. Don't believe what they tell you. Okay, don't believe what they're telling you. I mean, hell, these cats are telling you that the world's a globe. That ain't true. All right, so I mean, don't believe what these guys are out here saying, man. All right, some of it could be right, some of it could be wrong. So at the end of the day, do your own research and come to your own conclusion. That's just what I would tell you. Bear with me just a moment. I just had to check something real quick. Let me see. He said, LOP said the Epic of Gilgamesh around 2100 before Christ. Yeah, as I said, that could be from that time. It might not be. Okay. As I said, if you want to accept that, then that's cool, right? That might be true. That certainly could be true. But as I said, I would be, may I say, cautious, when they tell me certain dates. And I'll give an example. I already said it, but I'll say it again. When they say that, and here's a good one, dealing with humanity, right? How long humans have existed. Some people say 300,000 years. that humans have existed. It's like, okay, well, how the hell do you know? And they just basically said, well, we did some calculations. I mean, we found some skeletons and said after a billion, you know, years old, these certain, or let me phrase myself. Some of these skeletons are hundreds of thousands of years old, right? There's some skeletons of, early primates, as they're becoming humans from descending from apes who are, 500,000 years old. It's like, how the hell do you know it that old? You know what I'm saying? So, it's really just a fool's game, for lack of better words. That's all I'm going to say on that. Let me see real quick. Um, Fresh and New said, yeah, it really is hard to date things. Yeah, absolutely. LP said, yeah, it has similarities with the flood. I read the Epic of Gilgamesh. Um, LP said, yeah, very hard to date things, and Wikipedia is not God. LOL. Yeah, yeah. As I said, Matt, you can give somebody a rock and they'll tell you that things have existed for a billion years. It's like, well, how the hell do you know it's existed for that long? And nobody knows. They're just doing some quote unquote mathematical calculation. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's just really a fool's game. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes their calculations might be correct, but more often than not, the calculations are clearly off. All right. And here's another one. They say that what was it? I believe it's 14 billion years ago. They say that the Big Bang happened. It's like, well, wait a second. How the hell do you know that it happened 14 billion years ago? You weren't there. Oh, and this, it just shows the hypocrisy, man. These guys will be on there, talking BS to us. Like, oh, well, how do you guys know there was a God? You weren't there. So then I ask them, okay, well, you guys weren't there when the Big Bang happened. So how the hell do you know what that happened? Nobody can answer that part, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's very laughable. Whatever way you slice the cake at the end of the day, it's very laughable. You know what I'm saying? So guys will laugh. Think about this. Guys will laugh at you for saying that everything we see around us was constructed. And I'll say this: I'm sitting under may I say, a gymnasium. I don't know if I want to use that word to describe it, but it's something of that nature. If I was to suggest to somebody that the trash can to my left was the one who created itself and all of this around me, they would laugh at me and say, well, that guy got to be smoking Cracula. Inside joke. But yet the same person would believe that if you just drop all the supplies on top of each other in a junkyard like mess, right? Just throw everything, some pieces 1,000 feet over there, everything else stacked on top of each other. Hell, bury some underground. But they'll tell you that if you give it enough time, all those pieces will assemble themselves together and will assemble this structure which I am sitting under right now. I mean, is that not insanity right there? But yet the same person will laugh at you to suggest that the world was intelligently designed. That's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? I can't even believe that. Let me see real quick. Hey, I see we got Mind of God in chat. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. Um, Let me see. Mind of God. I don't have to go yet. I might do this. Are you available to do a show on your page right now? Okay, if you are, I will stop the show here and we can go to your page and we can stream for an hour or so we can get more, brothers on there. If you want to do that, I'm down with that. Just let me know in the comments because I've been going for 2.5 hours here. So, you know, I can come on your page for a little bit if you want to do one now. But other than that, I might have to cut the show a little short then, unless Mind God wants to do one on his page. So we'll just let him respond, and I'll just hit some other comments. Mind God, are you able to do it on your page now? Because I think you said you had your time left. Okay, so if you're able to, we can go on there for an hour. Okay, because I've been already live for 2.5 hours. So I'm trying to. Okay, he said, okay, we can do it. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna end the show here. And mind of God, go ahead on your page and start up a live stream, and then we can stream on your page for an hour or so. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna close the show down. So everybody watching, I know we have 5 people watching. Go over to Mind of God's page, and in like a few minutes, he's gonna start up a live show. I'm gonna join him on there, and we'll discuss with him. We'll talk a little while. So I'm gonna end it on here. Um, damn, if anybody made it this far into the video, long video, if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and put a hashtag in the comment section. Let's see. Today's hashtag, put hashtag LOP in the comment section. Put hashtag LOP in the comment section. We'll give that brother a little shout out, because he's been here the whole show. So a little shout out to him. So LOP in the comment section down below if anybody made it this far into the stream. Anyway, for everyone else who is watching here live, we're going to go over Mind of God's page right now and do a show there. So go ahead and join us over on his page, and yeah, I'll see you guys there. Anyway, I'm going to say shalom.